Hello and welcome back to the Premier Injuries channel. Today we are talking about an urgent injury update. Ben is flashing some of his merch there. He's very proud to be from the north, but maybe we'll discuss that another time because this one is a breaking injury update. We're going to cut through any rumor or misinformation and give you the facts about Doherty's MCL injury. I mean, Ben, is this a season-ending injury for the Tottenham right back?
Unfortunately, yes. We don't know the full extent of the problem, but we've heard from Alistair Gould. He suggested that we're looking at a grade 3 rupture. Now, typically, that's a 10 to 12-week timeline. Some research indicates that it could be closer to maybe 9.5. Premier injuries data, again, indicates that we're looking, at best, at very, very best, maybe 7 weeks. But it could be extended even beyond that 12 weeks. So, yeah, unfortunately, we won't be seeing Matt Doherty again this season.
So just in terms of the specifics then, what is an MCL injury and why is it so impactful to a player?
Yeah, so it's the medial collateral ligament, and that's the ligament on the inside of your knee. And as we've seen from the mechanism, that typically what happens is you have an external force that comes to the outside of the knee, i.e. Matty Cash, in this instance with that sort of scissor action tackle. Now that force pushes the knee, and that's ultimately where the pressure and the strains went through that ligament and caused that rupture. Like I say, we talk about a grade 3, that means extensive fiber damage. Now, typically, when we talk about grade 3, there's a lot of maybe a misconception sometimes that ultimately, you always need surgery to reconstruct or to repair that. That is not always the case. The MCL, if you're going to do anything, the MCL is a good one to do in terms of it has a really good blood supply and it responds really well to conservative treatment with really good outcomes.
And so maybe a question that Tottenham fans will have over the developing news that, of course, we will keep people up to date with. So do hit that subscribe button. But in terms of it, is it better to have surgery or not to have surgery? I mean, if that news comes out that he has had surgery, should Tottenham fans be more worried?
Not necessarily. Like I say, typically the route to go down would be that conservative, non-operative route. Really good reports and results and outcomes with that. Typically you're looking at maybe immobilizing that knee during that first phase post-injury, and then maybe partial weight bearing. And like I say, you begin to ramp that up, and ultimately outcomes are really good. Considerations for maybe if a player requires or maybe certainly considering surgery or not will become if there's any maybe secondary damage, or in instances where there's maybe laxity in and around that MCL, and that could become from repeated medial collateral ligament strains previously. Now, I've had a look at these data. We have had 1 or 2 sort of knee injuries in the past, certainly nothing to this extent. I think his last one dated back to 2019 in July, and he spent around a month on the sideline. So that doesn't suggest that there is anything sort of massively wrong in and around that area. We know he hasn't played a lot of minutes for Tottenham in recent times, and really he's just come to the forefront and really sort of broke in and made his mark in Antonio Conte's side just in the last month or so.
And so one of the things kind of going around Twitter and a lot of the Tottenham kind of fan discussions is that some of them were annoyed that he was allowed to play on. I mean, is that an indictment of the medical staff? We're always ones to kind of champion and protect them. But in this situation, why was he allowed to play on?
Yeah, look, first and foremost, very difficult. What happens is you're in a very time-crunched environment. You're watching the game from the sidelines, first and foremost. You are watching for mechanism of injury. You would have seen that challenge coming from Matty Cash. And before those, medical team went on the pitch, they would have a fairly good understanding of what's happened there, what's going on in that knee. As they rush on, there will be members of the backroom staff who are analysing video footage and relaying that information through their headsets. They're saying, yeah, look, this is what happened. We've seen the knee, we've seen the challenge. It could be LCL involvement here. Now, like I say, very highly charged environment, time crunched, limited time, referee standing over, crowd, restless. So what you'll be guided by in these situations as well, this will be player led. So the medical team will be talking to Matt Doherty and saying, right, how's the knee? How does it feel? What's the pain threshold like? What do you want to do? Do you feel comfortable? We will do some passive testing. We will check range of movement, mobility, see what that pain threshold is. Should we give it a go? What do you think, Matt? Do you feel comfortable? Look, I'll give it a couple of minutes. I'll try and run it off. If it doesn't, then ultimately I can come off. And in this instance, that's what happened. And we've seen this maybe a good case in recent time. Ruben Neves, he went down with an MCL problem against Leeds. Initially, it was addressed by the medical team. Granted, it doesn't look like it's severe as Matt Doherty's, but he was allowed to try and continue at that point to see if he could run it off. Ultimately, he couldn't, and then he was taken off. It suggests that his strain is probably in and around that grade 2, which gives him an outside chance of possibly returning this season.
So that is an interesting insight there. And I guess for everybody in their FPL teams, he's got to be coming out then, because he will not be returning this season. As always, people do hit that subscribe button. We like to give you as much information as possible around these issues. Do send us some questions as well in the comments below. Please like the video and share it with friends as well. But for now, I'm going to wish you the best, and we will see you again very soon.